longer need to take an individual in a so-called programming session to traumatize them, although that does occur from time to time still. They are able now with the new technology to directly transmit programming information into a human brain. And that is done, again, as I mentioned, from satellite transmission, cell tower transmission, and there's even ways of doing it through television, radio, and even through the wiring in your home, where they can transmit certain frequencies that download into the brain. The biggest download basically occurs overnight when people are sleeping, because that's the easiest time. There's no resistance. I have seen these trauma-based incidences. I've unfortunately had them happen to me during the Montauk Project. So yes, these things do occur. And you're correct that the new technology now can circumvent most of the physical need for programming sessions.
Let's go next to, we're not going to have time. Let me ask you this, though. You seem to have hope that we're going to win this. Is that true?
I think we have to. There's no question in my mind that has to overcome this. And no one remains ignorant forever. Ultimately, people will say they've just had enough. And again, they can't the God mind within you. They can only make you think that you're not connected to God mind, but it is always there. And in my work, I help people to connect that, to realize that, and to utilize that.
All right. Sounds like you have call waiting, by the way. Did you have another call coming in?
I wasn't paying attention to it.
I heard you drop out for just a little bit. No, you cannot take the other call, Stuart. You're going to stay with me. I know that. Well, we're going to come back. We're going to take more phone calls. Stuart, do you get support when you talk about this topic, or do people kind of shun you?
I'm getting mostly support. Of course, there's always people out there who don't want to hear this or to accept it. And again, I agree, it's their prerogative. And I don't force anyone to believe it. I state what I know, and you can accept or reject it. However, rejecting it doesn't change what I know or what I experienced. But for the most part, I have these days a lot of acceptance and support in this work.
Well, good for you. All right, well, stick with us. We'll be back in a moment. Very quick night. We'll take your final phone calls on Coast to Coast AM. I'm George Norrie. Under some of these mind control programs, can somebody be deprogrammed?
Absolutely.
Well, that's one good thing. Do you have to do it through a specialist or what?
Well, you have to know the techniques to download the programming and undo it. And I have an entire series of visualizations and exercises that I teach people and coach them through in order to do this. And it is a long process. It's not going to happen in a couple of days or a couple of weeks. It takes years and years. In fact, I have been deprogramming since 1990, and I still have a bit to go as well. So no one should expect to have it done quickly. I feel that it can be done and it can be accomplished ultimately, completely, but you need to be patient and consistent and persistent.
Let's go back to final calls. West of the Rockies, where are you calling from? Hi there.
Hi, this is Cindy calling from Cedar City, Utah.
Hi, Cindy.
And my question is, what are crop circles? And I'll take my answer off the air.
Stuart, you haven't brought up crop circles. Do you want to talk about that? If
Sure.
not, I'll go ahead.
I'll talk. Sure, no problem.
Take it away.
Jokingly, I call them crap circles, and that is because they're not what people think they are. I happen to have known the person at Brookhaven National Labs who said that he helped create them. What they basically are energetic injections into the morphogenetic grid of the Earth to change life forms on the surface and even below. So what you're seeing are archetype symbols, what I call language of hyperspace that I teach, which are being put in a sentence form to get a certain result. So that if they want to change the genetics of a certain species or a group of or change something in an area, they will create these crop circles that go into the genetic grid there and then alter everything in the area. They're not from Space Brothers.
Okay, and also, go to earthfiles.com if you also want to get another explanation on crop formations from Linda Moulton Howe. Let's go to our first-time caller line. You're on with Stuart Swerdlow. Hi there.
Hello.
Yes, take it away.
Hey, this is Casey. I was going to say, first of all, hello, George.
Hi, Casey.
And, I have two quick questions for Stuart. The first being, I guess, open to either one of you, is the reptilians that you guys are speaking of, is this similar to the reptoids that have been spoken of in the past on this program? And
Yep.
Number two question also, Stuart was claiming, he was talking about certain members of Congress, or I should say political members, having lesions taken off of them, being, I guess, remnants of leftover reptilian skin. Is he claiming, or, I'm sorry, Stuart, could you claim that anyone, could you name a name, I'm saying, in the United States, political member? I guess that's kind of a not very clear question.
Well, I'll just tell you, for example, Vice President Cheney had this done, and so did President Bush.
That's exactly what came to mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and as far as the first question, I don't know about what was discussed on this program previously about reptoids, but I would imagine they're similar or the same.
Very similar.
Okay. Well, that'll be all. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Case, thank you. Appreciate you being part of the program. Let's see. Well, my machines are jammed up here, Stuart. So let's go to our pick a card here, Stevie, until I get my computer back up. East of the Rockies, you're on Coast to Coast.
Hi.
Hello there.
Hi, this is Steve from Springfield, Mass.
Hey, Steve.
Hi, and I have a question for the guest, and I'm not trying to attack the messenger. I keep my mind very open to all these subjects, but also I'm not the kind of person that buys the Brooklyn Bridge for $1 right away either. And I'd like to know how he explains the hard evidence that we have about history, like the geological layers, the KT boundary all over the Earth, above which there's no dinosaur fossils found, which is 65 million years old. And, it's a fascinating thing that he's talking about, but I'm just thinking about all this different knowledge that I have, some of which would require the cooperation of all kinds of geologists and scientists and paleontologists. And we're talking about a government whose secret agency can't even keep top secret anti-terrorist programs out of the New York Times. I'm wondering about these things.
All right, that's a good question. Go ahead, Stuart.
Mm-hmm, yes. History, science, all of the publicly released information on those topics are basically sanctioned by the government. And in fact, history is written by the victors, as they say, and it's been rewritten many times. And, I had a client, an elderly man from Tennessee, who remembered years ago in the 1920s when he was in public school reading from his school book about Admiral Byrd's trip to the North Pole, where he found an entrance to the inner Earth and the tropical plants and animals that existed there. And then he said one day that there were people from Washington that came to the school and took all the books away and replaced them with different books that didn't have that information in it anymore. So as we go through time and as certain control systems are in place, different information is released to the public. There was something called Education 2000. That was a global education system where everyone in every country had to learn the same history, the same science, no matter where they lived. So there's a globalization of information, and the information has to be approved by the global government. So basically what I'm saying is that science information, history information is written so that you understand things in a certain way, and very often it obliterates or covers up the truth.
Anne from California says this program makes a lot of sense. Please ask Stuart why we seem to be acting like zombies all the time. Now, she's right about that. People seem brain dead.
I've been saying that a very long time, and again, it goes what I mentioned about creating a robotical society where everyone just performs their function without question. And not only that, they want everyone to be on some kind of a pill, some medication that alters the way you think, alters the brain waves, and they enhance this with ELF that they bombard the earth with to make people go along with whatever it is that's happening on the planet.